What is going on, guys? It's your boy P9 reporting from the beautiful capital city of Alabama, Montgomery. I'm here in Montgomery and I'm going to start this walking tour right here at the steps of the Alabama State Capitol, and I'm gonna make my way around the city. Now, just to give you a little synopsis, I grew up partially in Montgomery. I was born in Atlanta, but I was raised and spent a lot of my early childhood in Montgomery. So this is like a homecoming of sorts for me. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's a lot to cover, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. This is my first walking video in Montgomery. So I'm really looking forward to it. So as you guys just saw, I was at the footsteps of the Capitol building, and Montgomery is a city that is rich in history. There's a lot of history as it pertains to slavery, civil rights, and the Civil War as well. Montgomery has ties to all of those parts of history. But right now we're around all the government buildings that are in Montgomery. As you can see right here, this is the State of Alabama office building. And right there in the front is the American flag and the state flag of Alabama. And over across here is another state office building, or State of Alabama building, government building, that is. And as you can see right here, it's the Selma to Montgomery Historic Trail. We're on Dexter Avenue. So it was this path that was used on the Selma to Montgomery historical march for civil rights, and here's a marker right here to commemorate the Selma to Montgomery National Historic Trail. So there's a photograph of all of the participants in this major march. And again, this is Dexter Avenue. See all the flowers and plants that sit right in the front of the building. We'll go ahead and cross over here. And I want to point out this engraving right here says Alabama Bicentennial Park, December 14th, 2019. So basically, that date is the bicentennial of Alabama entering the Union, because it entered the Union December 14th of 1819. So the state is over 200 years old in regards to its status as a state. But as you can see here, this is a stone right here that commemorates the emancipation of the slaves after the Civil War was over in 1865. And then this one basically tells the story of the Reconstruction era. So Montgomery was a city where a lot of slaves were traded on the market, and they used the river, you know, because Montgomery has a river, as we'll see later, where the slaves were, you know, ported and, you know, they were traded. And there's like some Civil War history right here. And also want to make note that Alabama was a state that joined the Confederacy, and Montgomery was actually the capital of the Confederacy at one point in time. So again, you see, this symbolizes the slave master right there and the slaves. And here goes the ships that these slaves were imported on. And that is the Alabama River right there. These are steamboats. So steamboats were used for more than just transporting like cotton and all those other type of crops. It was also used to import slaves. It's a pretty neat little park right here. It's a lot of dark history, but you know, history must be told. So, you know, good or bad. And there goes the path to statehood. That shows Alabama. And this is when Alabama was a territory before it achieved statehood. A lot of states were like that. They started off as territories. They were basically parts of other territories or states. And here are the Native Americans right here, the Creek Indians, it looks like. If you guys want to freeze frame and read these. Lurleen Wallace. I want to say Lurleen Wallace was a politician. I'm not quite sure exactly what positions she held. approaching Decatur and Dexter Avenue. And you guys are about to be in for a treat momentarily. Just stay tuned. Before we get to that, this is the RSA building. Now this building is where the WSFA NBC news affiliate studios are located. And it's also where Truist, they have a Truist bank branch office right here. So it's all housed in the RSA building right here. Again, this is on Decatur Street. So go ahead and cross right here. Now here we go, right here. This is the marker of Dexter Avenue King Memorial Baptist Church, organized in 1877. So this is the second Black Baptist church in Montgomery. I wonder which one was the first. But here's the actual building right here. Told you guys you was in for a treat. This is where the most, if not the most, one of the most historical figures in the civil rights movement, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was the pastor at this church for several years. This is Dexter Avenue King Memorial Baptist Church. Now this structure was actually built in 1885, but it was restored between 1979 and 1980. And there goes the entrance to the building. There's actually another entrance up these stairs right here. That has to be one of the most historical buildings in the city. Now we're around a lot of the government and historical buildings, but we're gonna make our way further into downtown around a lot of the fun stuff. So just hang tight. I'm approaching Hull Street. Interesting, like Montgomery's downtown is a lot more spread out than I remembered. There goes another church over here. It's called the River City Church. And then behind that is the Regions Bank building. Looks like, I believe that's the tallest building in Montgomery. That Regions building. And right here behind me is the Heflin-Torbert Judicial Building. So this is where the Supreme Court and the Court of Criminal Appeals and Civil Appeals and things of that nature, those cases are held in this particular building right here. It's located at 300 Dexter Avenue. What I forgot to mention is that a lot of these buildings were built in like the early to mid 1800s. So Montgomery's another one of those southern cities that has a lot of pre and post Civil War architecture. You'll also see a lot of that in Mobile, a city that I plan on visiting in the near future and doing a video. So stay tuned. Goes a nice little fountain right here. There's something about being near these fountains. You feel like on a relatively muggy day where it's pretty warm and muggy, you get one of these near one of these fountains, you get like a little bit of a breeze. Not much, but it's something. Another thing I forgot to mention, today is Monday, April the 1st, 2024. It's a Monday afternoon, so not a lot of activity going on. It's what you would expect for a Monday afternoon during work hours. But it's still a pretty nice day to take a stroll, you know. All right. Yeah. I would cross that street over there and walk over there. You know what? Let me go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and cross. There's a staple right here in Montgomery. It's called Chris's Hot Dogs. It's been a landmark here in Montgomery since 1917. So we're talking like well over 100 years. It celebrated its 100th year anniversary, what, 7 years ago? And it is such an historic landmark that it even has its own marker erected in 2017. So it was erected the same year where it turned a century old. Pretty neat. I mean, if they were open for 100+ years, that says a lot. It must be pretty darn good, them hot dogs. My personal favorite hot dog is the ones that have like onions, like mustard, chili, and onions, the diced onions. I might swing by here later on to come check them out. Grab me a hot dog. And plus it's a local spot. It's another thing. It's a local spot. Usually these local spots, if they're really good, they stay open for many years. They span multiple generations. All right, now we're on the section of Montgomery. We're getting closer to around a lot of the businesses in downtown. And here's one in particular. It's called the Looking Good Men's High Style. So if you want to come here and get nice and sharp, this will be a place to come, you know. Now this building right here is called the Crest building. Now Crest used to be, a long time ago, it was a department store, and it's located on Dexter Avenue as well. And I'm not quite sure what it's used for now. I believe it might be restaurants and like a shopping, kind of like a shopping area located in there. and that's the thing too. A lot of these cities, they'll use these old historical buildings and renovate and, you know, restore them and use them for other purposes, just to maintain the building itself. So I think I always found that to be pretty neat. And also Montgomery is a participant in the Blue Cross Blue Shield Alabama Blue Bikes program. So you can come over here and download, it's called the Movatic app. You can download it, scan it, and scan the QR code, and you can actually ride these bicycles around, you know, just to promote healthy activities. So I think that's pretty neat. They also have some scooters that are also activated via an app. Those Rosa Parks. I'm pretty sure you all are familiar with Miss Rosa Parks, if you were paying attention in history class, that is. Oh, they got a trophy store right here. Check this out. Here's a statue of Miss Rosa M. Parks. And for those who don't remember, just to give you a brief synopsis, she was arrested on the Montgomery bus. I believe the date was December 1st, 1955, and she refused to give up her seat to a white passenger. So, you know, of course, she was arrested subsequently, and that's what sparked the whole Montgomery bus boycott right there. So the sculpture itself was dedicated in 2019. And right here is what's known as Court Square. So right now we're at the corner of Commerce and Court Street. Well, really Court in Montgomery streets. So it's kind of like three streets that intersect with each other. So it's Court, Montgomery, and Commerce Street. But right here is a fountain. Really nice. It's right here on the center of Court Square. And it's just basically an historic hub for a bunch of businesses in Montgomery. So it's essentially like a traffic circle. Now, I do remember coming downtown. My grandmother would bring us downtown every now and then. And I'm gonna tell you, it was a lot. It's a lot different. I mean, as far as the structure is still the same, but a lot of stuff that you see here wasn't here when I was growing up. Me and my cousins and my siblings, you know, we were growing up in Montgomery, like the 90s and the early 2000s. None of this stuff most of this stuff wasn't even here. You can see they have a visitor center right here. So you can definitely go in there and get your little brochures, information about the city. I'm gonna go walk down this way. This is neat. This is a nice little mural right here. You can see the butterflies right there. It looks like some protesters. One of them with the bullhorn right there. So this is in reference, I guess, to police brutality. And these names right here, looks like those were the victims of police brutality. So we're getting closer and closer to the riverfront, but I want to make my way down Montgomery Street. And over in this area is the Montgomery campus of Troy University. So yes, Troy University, which is the main campus, is located in Troy, Alabama, which is maybe a little less than an hour's drive from Montgomery. And right here, this is the downtown campus of Troy University. And on the campus, you have over here, we'll see a little bit closer up in a few minutes, but you have over there, you have the Davis Theater, and you have Whitley Hall. And over here is the Rosa Parks Library and Museum, named after the aforementioned Rosa Parks. So as you would imagine, that museum would have you know, artifacts and, you know, monuments based on the Montgomery bus boycott. So they go again, there's the Davis Theater. Over here on Bibb Street, at the corner of Bibb and Lee Street, Now right over here is Staybridge Suites. Over here is the Montgomery Convention Center. And over here is a mixed-use building. It's like 3 levels of apartments, and the ground level has a series of restaurants. And over there is the PNC building. I'm gonna proceed on my walking tour. Hey. Yeah, this definitely wasn't here the last time I visited Montgomery. A lot of this stuff wasn't here, as a matter of fact. It's been that long since I've been here. As I get ready to cross over here on Bibb Street, at the corner on the corner of Commerce and Bibb. Hank Williams Museum. One of the many legends of country music. He has his own museum. You know you big time when you have a whole museum dedicated to you. And I wanted to come over here to this marker right here. It basically has the Montgomery slave trade. And as I mentioned earlier, Montgomery was one of the major slave trading ports during the slave trade. This was pre-Civil War. Wow, I didn't know Montgomery had a larger slave population than Mobile, New Orleans, and Natchez, Mississippi. And all of those cities are similar in regards to they all have a major river. They all have major rivers and ports located in those cities. So those cities share a lot of similarities in that regard. Goes the Renaissance Hotel. And right here, now this definitely wasn't here when I was coming up. This is called the Alley. Now these buildings were here, of course, but as far as I can recall, a lot of these buildings were abandoned, but now a lot of them are occupied by restaurants and bars. And again, this is called the Alley Station. So this is a pretty good, cool place to hang out. You know, you want to bring the family, or you know, and get some, you know, get some grub. There's a lot of cool restaurants around here. Yeah. As we approach the riverfront, pretty sure a lot of you guys wanted to see that for sure, because that's like one of the coolest attractions in Montgomery. You know, not knocking on the other ones, but you know, the riverfront's pretty neat. It's a pretty cool hangout spot. They got a bar called the Aviator. At last, I made it to the Riverfront in downtown Montgomery. So I'm about to go take a stroll along the riverfront, and this is the entrance to that riverfront. So stay tuned and check me out. I'm approaching the tunnel that leads to the riverfront, along with its many attractions. So this is also where the riverboat landing is, where the Harriet riverboat takes its river cruises. I think I pronounced the name of that riverboat correctly. If not, I apologize, but I believe it is the Harriet. So it's about to get a little dark because we are coming underneath this tunnel. And a little bit of lighting though, so that's cool. Plus some shade, you know, so it's plenty of shade down here for sure. You're trying to escape that Alabama sun, which can be overbearing to say the least. Now we did also as kids come to the riverfront from time to time. It didn't have as many attractions as it does now, but it's still, of course, always the riverfront, of course, obviously has always been there. The riverboat. Never actually been on the riverboat before, but we all know the infamous incident that occurred about 8 months ago. You guys know what it is. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm pretty sure if you put your imagination to work, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Yeah. Just made our way out the tunnel, and here we go. We're on the Riverfront Trail, which is also part of the Civil Heritage Trail. And there goes the beautiful riverboat right there. Yeah. Here goes the steps. Here goes like a timeline that's plastered on this rock wall right here, showing Montgomery's history from the Civil War all the way to, well, actually this is actually all of the Reconstruction post-Civil War era that they have on this particular timeline. So you have 1887, where Montgomery was becoming more modernized. You know, there was improvements to the infrastructure as far as, you know, building parks and streetcars, sidewalks, skyscrapers, things of that nature. You have the Montgomery's role in the war, so that includes World War I and World War II. And it also talks about how a lot of these airfields that are in Montgomery, particularly Air Force, Maxwell Air Force Base, Gunner Field, how they came to be. And then you have the civil rights movement, you know, the freedom fighters, or excuse me, freedom riders. And then the modern era, like the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, where Montgomery exploded into a cosmopolitan city that it is known for today. So I think that's pretty neat that they put that right here at the riverfront. Look at that beautiful water, that beautiful river. It's the Alabama River to be exact. And you see those trees to complement the background. You know, you can always come out here. You can bring, if you don't want to get on the actual river boat, you can actually bring a family or you bring yourself, come out here, eat you like a little lunch, snack, whatever you want to call it, and just enjoy the scenic view. And right over here, it looks like an amphitheater. Looks like they have like little shows and stuff like that over here. When the summer is really peaking. Right now it's the early spring, so not much activity. But over here, it looks like this big open space right over here. This is where you can bring a blanket, and have a picnic and just sun gaze, whatever you want to do. You could come over here and just enjoy the great outdoors. Let me make my way further up this way. You can also get a nice jog in as well. There's many things you can do out here at this park. And up here they have a restaurant that just opened a couple of years ago. Can't see it really from here, but let me get up a little closer. But right over here, it's called the Red Bluff Bar. 2022 is when it opened. Just to add to the attractions that are already present at the Riverfront. So yeah, here's the actual restaurant right here. It's closed today. It's going to be closed tomorrow as well. But they usually have live music. You can come here and get you a cocktail or any alcoholic beverage of your choice. You can also, of course, you can get food. And you can just come out here and just chill right here on the riverfront. They got outdoor seating that faces the river. And check this out. That's pretty cool. They have this big giant chair, red chair, alongside these two smaller chairs. Yeah. Pretty neat, huh? But that does it for the riverfront. I'm gonna come back at another time and get some more footage when there's more people. But you guys get the general idea of how the riverfront works and how it looks. So that's it for now. If you like what you see, please subscribe. And okay, you guys saw the riverfront. Now I'm taking a stroll down Tallapoosa Street to check out more sights, more interesting buildings and whatnot. And just an update on the weather. It is still highly overcast, but it doesn't look like it's gonna rain. I mean, it kind of, in a way it does, but it doesn't have rain in the forecast. So it might just be a very cloudy day all day. But at any rate, it's warm out, so that's the good part about it. And there goes the alley right across the street. That's where I mentioned earlier that has, you know, all the different bars and restaurants. And here is the Montgomery Riverwalk Stadium. Again, this is the Montgomery Riverwalk Stadium. This is where the minor league baseball team, the Montgomery Biscuits, play their home games, as you can see right here. And we're basically over here at the will call segment of the ballpark. But I want to circle back real quick, and as you can see, there goes the Biscuits logo right there. Now this building was actually a military prisoner, or excuse me, a military prison that held Union soldiers or Union prisoners during the Civil War. So as you would imagine, back during that time, they were established. This prison was actually established by the Confederate soldiers, but the Union soldiers were held captive in this very building. And as you would imagine, during that time, the conditions were very poor, and a lot of the prisoners died in captivity. Just a little nugget of information pertaining to this building. But now it is a ballpark. And of course, today is not game day, so there's no activity going on at the stadium. A couple of older buildings over here as well. Still walking down Tallapoosa Street. Here's another wing of the stadium right here. As you can see, there's some seating over on this side of the field, and from over here you can see the scoreboard, or the jumbotron for the Montgomery Biscuits. Now, as I'm approaching Court Street, what you see right here is the part of the city that's known as the Legacy Plaza. Now, the Legacy Plaza has a lot of the like civil rights history, as well as like the slavery, like enslavement history as well. So this hasn't been here that long. It's only a few years old. As you can see, here goes the Legacy Museum, which is one part of the Legacy Plaza. So in there's a bunch of like displays that shows the history of enslavement to mass incarceration as it pertains to African Americans, black people. As you can see, there goes some photographs of the slaves. There's a large amount of them right here. Huge. Like I said, there's a lot of dark history associated with the South, America in general, but the South specifically as it pertains to the civil rights, the mass enslavement, and also the lynchings that took place. So there goes the sign that has like a little slideshow, like a little billboard display. Let me walk up these steps. Here goes the park right here. Goes Miss Rosa Parks. Her statue right smack dab in the middle of this patch of grass right here. This field rather of grass. And you can see right here, those buildings right there are old warehouses. And a lot of those buildings have been converted to like lofts and restaurants, bars, you name it. But yeah, you can actually come out here and sit down and have a like a little picnic or lunch, whatever type of gathering you want to have. And see over here, it looks like they're constructing a new structure. It looks like it may potentially be a hotel, just from the structure and just from the layout. The layout looks like a hotel. So I mean, this city's, there's a lot of growth in this city. I see. It may not seem like it, but oh wow, this is neat right here. They have some ceiling fans over here. So it looks like people actually come over here and have like massive gatherings. They have, that's pretty neat over here. They have the Legacy Cafe. It's a food truck. Here's another view of the RSA building in the Regents Tower. Okay, so this is basically a space of reflection and quiet conversation, and which is fitting because of what this park commemorates. So if you think you're going to come over here and skateboard and bike and do any type of recreational sports like playing football, this is not the place. There's plenty of green spaces for that, but this is not one of them. Oh wow, look at this. Shout out to Kevin King. There goes Frederick Douglass. Looks like, is that Harriet Tubman? Yeah, it looks like Harriet Tubman. I know that's Frederick Douglass right there. I want to say that's Mary McLeod Bethune, and if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comment section. But nevertheless, it's a really dope piece of art. Again, shout out to Kevin King, who put together this wonderful piece. So all of this is like right by the riverfront, so that's really cool that all of these different sites are within relatively short walking distance from each other. I think I'm getting ready to make my way back to the alley, go grab me a bite to eat. All this sightseeing and walking it worked up an appetite for me, so I have to go satisfy my appetite. Now this building right here is the Alabama Gazette building. And yes, people, this is a newspaper. You know, people still read newspapers in 2024, believe it or not. I'm talking about the print form. You know, we don't really see paper boys. I mean, that's very old-fashioned. You don't see guys riding around their bike throwing the papers anymore. But we do see a lot of in some areas you see like those little newsstands where you can get your newspaper. So in some instances you can get one for free. I think some people even still subscribe. They still get like monthly subscriptions to their local paper. Dreamland barbecue ribs. That sounds pretty good right about now. Over here on the campus of Alabama State University. Over here at the Carter Hill Road entrance. And as you can see right here, we're at the entry of Alabama State University. So just to give a little background on Alabama State, it was founded in 1867, so this was during the Reconstruction era after the Civil War. And it wasn't until 20 years later that the campus moved to Montgomery, and it actually got its start in Marion, Alabama, which is roughly an hour and a half west of Montgomery. So that's where this university actually started, and it started off as a small school called the Normal School of Colored People. And then gradually over the years it grew in enrollment, and here we are. In 1969 is when it became an Alabama State University. So it went from Alabama State College. It had multiple name changes actually. It went from the State Teachers College to the Alabama State College for Negroes to the Alabama State College until 1969, where it finally gained its permanent name of Alabama State University. So you can see right there, there's the Dome Stadium right there. Security post. So as of today's date, it is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. Pretty sunny day out. Right now we're like in the mid 60s, so not too bad. So right there is the Dunn Oliver Acadome, which was constructed in 1992. It is home to the Alabama State Hornets basketball team, both men and women. So I'm gonna go ahead and cross right here. That's the Abernathy Annex building. Now, Alabama State is a historically black university. Here's some banners of some of the administrators of Alabama State. You have right here Joe Lee, the president from 2001, 2008. Here's another one right here. believe. Looks like these buildings over here are abandoned. Looks like they used to be dorm rooms or apartments or something along those lines. Look like they were apartment buildings though, but they look abandoned. But behind that, looks like that's like a modernized building. Could be potentially residence halls. Here's another historic building right here. This is the Ralph David Abernathy Hall. As this is Montgomery, a lot of buildings would be named after historical, prominent civil rights leaders, such as Mr. Ralph David Abernathy. Right over here is the Alabama State University Life Science Building. Compared to a lot of other buildings on the campus, this looks relatively new. Right here we have the Alabama State University, or ASU Stadium, home of the Alabama State football team. Here's a side of it. And this stadium is not that old. It's actually only been here for perhaps close to 12 years. Anywhere between 11, 12 years. So it's still relatively new. You can tell it's modern as far as the architectural structure of it. Now we just passed the wheel call. area. Now this is over here around the scoreboard area of the stadium. Let us march on till victory is won. Lift every voice and sing. James Weldon Johnson. Yes, lift every voice and sing. A very, very popular Negro spiritual. Now this right here is the Montgomery Interpretive Center. This building doesn't look like it's been here that long either. Another one of the several civil rights museums. Commemorates the Selma to Montgomery March. And here it is, the front of the building. And again, this is right on the campus of Alabama State University, part of the Selma to Montgomery National Historic Trail. So apparently there are many other buildings and monuments that go beyond just the you know, the residential halls and the study halls that are typically associated with the university. I mean, there's museums and things of that nature on the campus as well. This is another one of the entryways. This is actually on Harris Way, the Harris Way entrance to the campus. But right here is the home of the birthplace, actually, of Nat King Cole. So I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with Nat King Cole and his daughter Natalie Cole. But yeah, Nat King Cole, his heyday was actually in the 40s and the 50s. So we're talking around the Harlem Renaissance era. And here's the marker. He was a jazz pianist, composer, and singer, celebrated as an American popular music artist in the 40s and 50s. So he was born March 17th, 1919 in Montgomery, Alabama, as one of 5 children to Edward James Cole, a minister at Beulah Baptist Church in Montgomery, and Perlina Adams Cole, who sang in the choir. So yeah, it's like gospel and jazz and blues just basically ran through his veins, you know. So here it is, a single-story house, not very big, but you know, this is where he was born. And here is another historical marker in this and also building. This is the home of Ralph David Abernathy, and this is his marker. So Ralph David Abernathy also graduated from Alabama State, and he was a pastor at First Baptist Church here in Montgomery. So he collaborated with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and a whole bunch of other civil rights activists, and they organized the Montgomery bus boycott. So yes, here's the home right here. There goes the steps leading up to the home. And would you look at there, it's like, I wonder if this was like this is the driveway right here. At first I thought it was a garage, but this is like the driveway. It's pretty neat. I did not know these structures were on the campus, you know, the home of Ralph David Abernathy and the birthplace home of Nat King Cole. It's your boy P9 coming at you with more footage of downtown. Actually, I'm south of downtown Montgomery, but this is a very nice piece of architecture right here. It's called the Knox Hall. It was built in the 1840s, and this building is still obviously still up and running. You can actually have weddings, engagements, graduations, banquets. So you can book all of those events in this particular building right here that's been standing since 1840. Mind you, this was pre-Civil War. Lots of buildings like that here in Montgomery. See a few of those buildings right over here. These houses are occupied by attorneys. This building right here is the First Baptist Church of Montgomery. Nicely architected. Oh, there's more right there. That's the other part of the building. It's more to the First Baptist Church right over here. So these are two buildings. It's the same building, but they're, I guess, two separate wings. another church building right here. I'm actually on Perry Street, the corner of Perry and Adams. Go ahead and walk down this way. Come down Adams Avenue. And that sun is really out here today compared to when I did a couple of days ago when I did my first downtown video. The sun was hiding all day. It was playing a little bit of peekaboo, but for the most part, it was hiding out Monday. Today is a different story. It's a sunny 70 degrees outside right now. And it's after 6 o'clock in the evening as we speak. Not quite sure what's going on over here. It looks like it's a parking lot for this church building, but this church building looks abandoned. So I don't know what they plan on doing with this particular site. But over here is the is an AT&T building. Now right here on the Civil Rights Heritage Trail, we have another historical site. This is the Greyhound Station, or it used to be the Greyhound Station, and it is now the Freedom Rides Museum. So there's a bunch of exhibits that pertain to the freedom rides and the civil rights era back in the 60s. So here's like a timeline right over here. Segregated transportation facilities. They had colored waiting rooms and colored bathrooms, basically segregated facilities. There goes Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his quote about segregation. freedom riders, Carol Ruth Silver. Here's Bayard Rustin. So a lot of this freedom riders, these particular events took a lot of organization. This was a bus that was firebombed by the Ku Klux Klan near Anniston, Alabama. Very dangerous situation, obviously. Francis Bergman. So not all the freedom riders were black. It was some whites involved as well in the fight for freedom and equality. Here's a sticker right here. Here goes another brother that you guys, I'm pretty sure, recognize. John Lewis. He was only 21 years old at the time. This all went down in 1961. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. So it was a lot of people, young and old. And here the mug shots for a lot of the freedom riders that were arrested. During the protests. And see, I don't know why it is, but every time, like basically when I first saw this building, the first thing I could think about is that episode of the Boondocks in the 4th season. You guys know what I'm talking about. Those who watch the Boondocks. The 4th episode where Robert Freeman, you know, as a young man, boarded the wrong bus. He intended to go to Chicago, but he ended up boarding a bus full of freedom riders, and he wasn't, you know, he wasn't feeling that. He wanted to go to Chicago. Instead, he was on the bus bound for Birmingham. It's just, that's the first like thing that came to my mind when I saw that building. I just thought that was worth noting. Matter of fact, I just saw that episode last night. That wind is really picking up. Now this is another historical building right here. It's the Frank Johnson Federal Building, and it was named after an historic like district judge by the name of Frank Menace Johnson Jr. He actually served as a circuit judge in the Court of Appeals, the Fifth Circuit rather, in the Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit. So he served in the federal courts for almost 45 years. And the reason why I mentioned Mr. Johnson is because he made very, very important rulings as it pertained to the civil rights and ending segregation and disenfranchisement of African Americans in the South. He actually grew up in a small town in northern Alabama. The town was called Haleyville. So, and he was a Republican. So this is just one part of the building. As I approach Church Street, see the courthouse steps right here. Another marker that gives some historical perspective. See at the bottom it says Judge Johnson presided over cases authorizing the Selma to Montgomery March in 1965 and the Freedom Riders or the Freedom Rides in 1961, requiring that women and blacks be allowed to serve on allowed to serve on Alabama juries, desegregating the Alabama State Police, and requiring the extension of mental health treatment to persons institutionalized for mental illness. So this Frank Johnson was a big deal, man. He presided over some really, really huge cases. So Frank Johnson seemed like he was definitely for the people. Didn't matter what race you were. That's pretty dope. Now here goes Troy University. Again, this is Troy University, the Montgomery campus. Keep in mind, Troy University's main campus is located in Troy, Alabama, which is roughly an hour's drive from Montgomery. Oh wow, this is neat. This is still part of the Frank Johnson Courthouse right here. This building is massive. I mean, I guess it has to be. If it's a circuit court, it has to be pretty good size. I want to get a close-up of these trees and this fountain right here in the center. So it looks like this is the main entrance, the front entrance to the courthouse. So a nicely sculpted fountain right here in the center. like that sculpture of that head right there too. It's pretty dope. Get this sign right here, Troy University. The flower bed sitting right here in front. You see the roses over here. Really nice. This is a spring, so looks like the roses have bloomed. Nice little park right here. Take in some relaxation. Here goes the statue of the mascot of Troy University. This is the Trojan. Nicely sculpted statue right there. And I also wanted to get this dove right here, the statue of a dove. course, the dove symbolizes peace, and peace is what is needed on earth. Peace needs to be restored on earth, and the dove definitely symbolizes peace. The Violata Pax dove. The Violata Pax dove, the wounded peace, was created in 2006 by artist Fred Nall Hollis, a native son of Alabama. So the dove was sculpted in white bronze and came to life in a foundry in Pietrasanta, Italy. It was generously gifted to Troy University by the artist. So shout out to the artist Fred Hollis. Beautiful piece of artwork right here. So that will conclude this portion of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, please hit the like button and also hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well in order to get notifications every time I post. So until the next time, guys, stay blessed, stay safe, and peace. I'm out.